The students from Gorth Academy had been preparing for their Xenu cultural field expedition to Earth for months. It was meant to be a straightforward task: observe and document human societal structures, especially their perplexing attachment to non-sapient creatures. This phenomenon had long baffled the intergalactic community. Many species coexisted with lesser life forms, but humans, for some inexplicable reason, formed deep emotional bonds with them. It was illogical. Among the students was Zori, a lanky Langsan being with four observant eyes and a habit of fidgeting with his study tablet. He had meticulously examined every available study on human-animal relationships and still failed to comprehend why humans invested so much time, effort, and resources into nurturing creatures that contributed nothing to their civilization. The Gorian Empire prized efficiency. Anything without purpose was discarded. The notion of feeding, sheltering, and even mourning a creature that lacked intelligence was utterly confounding. Their instructor, Professor Orks, a being known for both immense patience and even greater exhaustion, led them through the bustling streets of a human metropolis. Observe, document, and inquire, he instructed, but for the love of the cosmos, do not interfere. The students dispersed, diligently taking notes as they witnessed humans engaging in their daily routines. They observed people walking their pets, feeding them, conversing with them, and, to Zor's greatest unease, even sleeping beside them. Zori approached a young human woman seated on a park bench. She was tossing small pieces of food into the air, which a tiny furry creature eagerly leaped up to catch. Zori tilted his head in confusion. "Excuse me, human. What function does this animal serve?" The woman gave him a bemused look. "Function? Yes. What does it do? Does it hunt for you? Carry supplies? Defend your dwelling?" The woman chuckled. "This is Poppy. She's a Chihuahua. That explains nothing. She's my companion. She makes me happy." Zora's four eyes blinked in unison. "You derive emotional stability from an inferior species?" "Well, yeah." She scratched behind the Chihuahua's ear, and the tiny creature wiggled with delight. "She loves me, and I love her." Zori took a step back, perplexed. "Love." He tapped rapidly on his study tablet. The concept of forming emotional bonds with lesser beings was something only humans seemed to do. It was a baffling waste of cognitive energy. Further down the park, another student, a reptilian named Quinex, observed a man tossing an object. A canine bolted after it, retrieved it, and returned it to the man, who lavished it with praise. "It is trained to retrieve," Quinex muttered, recording notes. "That is at least a function." But then the man to the object again, and the dog, a golden-furred creature, enthusiastically chased after it. Quinex hissed in frustration. Why does it return the object if the human simply discards it again? The man laughed. "Because he likes playing fetch, but it serves no purpose." The man shrugged. "It makes him happy, and it makes me happy." The alien students documented their findings with mounting confusion. Every response led to more questions. How could a species advanced enough to master interstellar travel still dedicate so much time to inefficient, unproductive creatures? On their second day, they encountered him, Nathan Cole. Nathan sat outside a small cafe, a large, muscular dog resting beside him. Unlike the other pets they had seen, this one carried an air of unwavering focus. Its amber eyes never left Nathan, and it moved with a quiet intensity that immediately piqued Zora's interest. "Excuse me, human," Zora said. "Your creature appears different from the others we have studied." Nathan glanced up, then down at his dog. "Yeah, this is Titan." He patted the dog's broad head. "He's my best friend." Zora sighed. Another illogical statement. Does he serve a function, or is he merely for emotional stability? Nathan smirked. "Both. Titan is a protector." Quinex interjected. "A defender? Does he fight?" "Guard territory, if needed," Nathan replied. "But his job is to keep me safe." Zora narrowed his eyes. "Why would you require protection?" Nathan hesitated. I was in the military. Came back with some scars, mental and physical. Sometimes I have trouble processing things. Titan helps me stay grounded. He keeps me steady. Zori recorded this with interest. This was different. The dog wasn't just an object of affection or a pointless retriever of discarded items. He had a role, a purpose. And then it happened. A sudden commotion erupted nearby. A frantic man, wild-eyed and desperate, stumbled into the cafe's outdoor seating area, knocking over tables. He brandished a weapon, a crude human firearm. The students gasped, stepping back. "Everybody stay put," the man shouted, his voice shaking. "I don't want to hurt anyone, Titan moved. In an instant, the large dog placed himself between Nathan and the armed man. His posture shifted from relaxed to coiled intensity. His ears pinned back, his lips curled, revealing sharp teeth. A deep, guttural growl filled the air. The man hesitated. "W's what the hell?" Nathan placed a firm hand on Titan's back, but didn't restrain him. "You don't want to do this," he said calmly. Titan inched forward, muscles taut, eyes locked onto the man. There was no barking, no wasted movement, just a presence radiating pure, unrelenting danger. The man's panic rose. His grip on the weapon trembled. Titan's growl deepened, his body shifting ever so slightly. The message was clear: one wrong move, and he would strike. A tense moment passed. Then, the man threw down the weapon and bolted. Titan didn't chase. He remained by Nathan's side, watching until the threat was gone. The student stood in stunned silence. For the first time in his academic life, Zori had no words. He stared at the so-called pet and saw something he had never considered: loyalty, strategy, intelligence beyond mere training. Titan had assessed the situation, calculated the threat, and taken action, all for his human. Nathan scratched behind Titan's ears. "That's why I trust him with my life." Zora slowly closed his study tablet. Perhaps humans weren't so irrational after all. As they walked back toward their transport, Zori whispered, "We must investigate further." Professor Orc sighed. "Very well. But remember, observe. Do not interfere." Zori, for once, wasn't sure if he could obey. He was something else entirely. For the first time in his academic career, Zori had no answer. His entire life had been built on logic, on the careful dissection of civilizations, the analysis of their structures, the cold, methodical pursuit of understanding. But Titan defied logic. That evening, the students returned to their research hub in silence. There were no debates, no excited discussions dissecting human behavior. Just quiet contemplation as they processed what they had witnessed. He was something else entirely. For the first time in his academic career, Zori had no answer. His entire life had been built on logic, on the careful dissection of civilizations, the analysis of their structures, the cold, methodical pursuit of understanding. But Titan defied logic. That evening, the students returned to their research hub in silence. There were no debates, no excited discussions dissecting human behavior, just quiet contemplation as they processed what they had witnessed. Eventually, Quinex broke the silence. That creature had no obligation to protect the smaller human. Professor Orcs, who had been uncharacteristically quiet since the incident, finally spoke. And yet, it did. Zora stared at his study tablet, its screen filled with hastily written observations. Titan's reaction speed, his assessment of danger, the precision of his rescue. He had documented everything, analyzed every variable. Yet, no matter how many times he combed through the data, he couldn't make sense of it. "This does not follow any known behavioral patterns," he muttered. The risk outweighed the reward. There was no guarantee of survival. Why did he act? Quinex, usually the most dismissive of human behavior, seemed unusually pensive. Perhaps we are applying the wrong framework. We have studied Titan as if he were an ordinary Earth creature. "He is an Earth creature," Zori countered. "Yes," Quinex admitted, "but perhaps not an ordinary one. The discussion stretched late into the night, but no satisfying conclusion emerged.